Greetings, Othman Haji Ismail and Associates, your partner in your CDM compliance duties.
Okay, so let's jump right in. There is a huge change sweeping across Malaysia's construction industry right now. And it's not a small tweak, it's a fundamental shift in the law that really flips the script on who's responsible for safety. We're talking everyone, from the developer signing the checks all the way to the architect drawing up the plans.
And it all really boils down to this one critical question, one that's always been a bit of a gray area. Let's say an accident happens on site because of a flaw in the building's design. Who is legally on the hook? Is it the builder who just followed the plans, or is it the designer who created them in the first place?
Well, the answer to that question just got a whole lot clearer. Malaysia has brand new regulations, the Construction Design and Management Regulations for 2024, or CDM 2024 for short, and they have completely redrawn those lines of legal responsibility. The big takeaway here? Accountability now starts way before a single shovel even breaks ground.
Now, this change didn't just happen in a vacuum. As you can see, Malaysian safety law has been on this journey for decades, starting way back with the FMA in '67 and then the big OHI&A law in '94. These new 2024 regulations are the latest, and you could argue the most significant step in that evolution, because they're zeroing in specifically on the construction industry.
So, what's the big deal? What's the core change we're talking about? Well, it's a massive power shift in who holds the ultimate responsibility for safety. Let's take a look at a direct comparison between the old way of doing things and the new.
Under the old rules from 1986, it was the contractor's job to tell the authorities when they were starting work. The focus was all about what was happening physically on the construction site. But now, under CDM 2024, that duty has been pushed all the way up the food chain. It's now the client, the developer, who has to notify the authorities, and they have to do it right at the very beginning of the project. Safety is no longer just about the work site. It's baked in from the initial concept.
And this brings us to the first major group that's really feeling this shift, the project clients and developers. Their role has been totally transformed. They've gone from being just a passive funder to an active and, crucially, a legally liable manager of the project's safety.
So what does that actually mean? Well, it means clients can't just hire a team and walk away anymore. They're now legally on the hook to make sure the entire safety system is in place from day one. That includes things like appointing the right, competent people, providing critical safety information before the design even starts, and making sure all the necessary safety plans and files are created and kept up to date.
And if you're thinking, okay, these are just rules on paper, I want you to look at this number. Because these new duties have real teeth. This represents a fine that was already handed out to a developer under these new regulations.
So why were they fined? For this right here, a simple failure to notify the authorities at the start of the project. A duty that now falls squarely on the client's shoulders resulted in a 20,000 ringgit penalty. It's a crystal clear signal that the authorities are taking this very seriously.
All right, so that's the client. Now let's shift gears and look at the second key group here, the designers, the architects, and the engineers. Their entire approach to design is being rewired to put safety first, right from the very first sketch on a napkin.
At the heart of all this is a concept called prevention through design. And honestly, it's a pretty powerful idea. Instead of trying to put up guardrails and manage dangers on a busy, chaotic construction site, the goal is to design those dangers out of the project from the very beginning. It basically makes safety a fundamental part of the design, just as important as cost or what the building looks like.
So how does this actually work? Well, the law gives designers a pretty clear three-step playbook. First, they have to try and completely eliminate a risk. Can you design a building so no one ever has to do dangerous maintenance work at a great height? If you can't, you move to step 2, reduce or control that risk through smarter, safer design choices. And then, and this is so important, step 3, if any risk is left over, you have to clearly communicate what that risk is to everyone else on the project.
Okay, so you've got the client doing their thing, the designer doing theirs, but how do you track all this? How do you prove it's been done? Well, all of this activity has to be documented, and this has created a new mandatory set of documents that are basically the project's official safety playbook.
This table does a great job of showing how it's a shared responsibility. You could think of it as the new burden of proof for safety. You can see the client kicks things off, creating the initial info and setting up the final file. Then, the principal designer jumps in, does the risk assessment, and updates everything. Finally, the principal contractor takes that baton and keeps all the documents live during construction.
It's a collaborative paper trail of safety.
So what about that final document, the SHF, or the Safety and Health File? The absolute best way to think about this is as the lifelong safety manual for the finished building. It's the book that has all the crucial information needed to clean, maintain, and one day even safely decommission the structure. It's the final piece of the puzzle, and it lasts for the building's entire life.
So when you step back and you put all of these pieces together, the client's liability, the designer's new duties, and all this mandatory paperwork, you start to realize you're not just adding a few new rules to the game, you're building an entirely new safety ecosystem from the ground up.
And that's really the ultimate goal here. It's to create a shared culture of safety where that responsibility is spread across everybody. It's about getting the right people on board from the very beginning, managing risks as a team, keeping a live record of all your safety decisions, and making sure that no single person is left holding all the risk. It's a whole system built on collaboration and accountability.
Which, of course, leaves us with the big question. These new rules are one of the most comprehensive attempts ever to legislate safety into the very DNA of a construction project, by making everyone, from the client at the top to the contractor on the ground, accountable for their part. Will this finally be the shift that makes one of Malaysia's most dangerous industries fundamentally safe? I guess only time will tell.
Thank you, and please follow up your understanding towards CDM compliance. Have a great day.